you have any advice for single dads? Because we always hear about single moms, but single dads, I think that
and if you don't mind, how
If you
old
don't
are your
mind,
kids? How old are your kids too right now? And how old are kids when the divorce happened?
Sure. So my kids now are, there's a gap. There's one that's in high school. He's 17, thinks he knows it all. And then there's my 8 and 6-year-old who are like wild childs, who would just, they're all over the place. But at the time, my little guys were 1 and 3, and my oldest was 12. So that was, well, what's funny too, though, is kids, and I'll get back to your first question, but kids are resilient. They handled it way better than I did, initially. They just move on. They move on with their lives. They just, like, it is what it is. And, they forget what happened an hour prior. So they're great. They're great teachers, and I always tell that to people when someone says, how do you teach this to your kids? I say, I don't, I live it. Like I really truly embody what we teach. And I think it's best to do it that way, because they'll learn through you versus you telling them what to do. Like the kids, as they get older, especially if you have teenagers, they sure as heck don't listen to you, but they're watching, whether you believe it or not, they're watching. So as far as the advice I could give single dads, there's a lot of advice. I mean, you do want to get, the best thing you could ever do is get around the right people, because if you get around the wrong people during the wrong time, it could really take you down a dark hole. And I was around the right people. That certainly helped me. And, some of the best pieces of advice I ever received was, first one was take the high road. Like, no matter what is happening, because emotions can be high, you can be dealing with, narcissistic people that want to control you and control the narrative and how people perceive you, so things are going to be said about you that might not necessarily be true. But if you take the high road, in time, things will work out. That's the second thing. Time always tells a story. So time in the beginning is our worst. It's not a good thing, because you want to speed up the process. But in time, it's our greatest ally, because over a period of 3, 4, 5 years, for me, it's been 5 years. Time has told the story. Like, you can't lie about that. You can pretend and you can fake it on social media for so long, but eventually time does, the results speaks a story, and results are often harsh, but they're always fair. So if you can, embed it in your mind, time will always tell the story. And if you keep taking the high road and doing the right thing and holding the image of the other person, if you're a single mother, hold the image of, the father, being his best version, and vice versa, with the man seeing the woman as their best version. That is easier said than done. It's not something I say you can do, overnight, but it is essential to, creating a prosperous and harmonious environment. And, for me, as I did that and I understood time told a story, I understood I could take the high road. And you take the high road to a certain point. You have to draw boundaries if your kids are being put in harm's way or something, but you do those things over time, and you have gratitude for, seeing your kids. You have gratitude when you're with them and you're in the present moment with them. You're not holding resentments, like it's like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Bob used to always say that. You don't do that. You just hold the vision for them. You hold the vision for you. You take the high road, and you understand time will always tell the story. And if you show up every day and with integrity and show up for your kids, I think beautiful things will happen for you. And for me, it just ended up working out where I had my kids full time. I never landed in a court. I never landed, I never forced anything. Like, it truly happened organically. And it was just for the best for everybody. And here we are now. And I still continue to take the high road, hold the image of, the everybody around me at their highest self. And I think if a single dad is going through it, I know it's going to be hard for you to do at the beginning, but it'll become a habit if you continue to do it. And you just send love to everybody that is bothering you, everybody that's hurt you, because the more good you put out, even if it's in your mind, it's all energy, the more good is going to come back to you.
That's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
So
thank you so much. You coach your son too, right?
Yeah, I coach them all in sports. That was one of my goals at the beginning. I remember Bob asking me, he said, what do you want to do? And I was a kid, and, I just was like, I want to get rich, which is not a goal. At the time, I know that now, but, eventually I said, I want to create a life of freedom, and I want to help other people. And I know that was kind of vague, but it wasn't to him. He knew that was what he did. And he said, I certainly can help you with that. And within that freedom, I wanted to be able to pick up my kids every day from school. I wanted to drop them off every day from school. I wanted to become so highly effective in what I was doing that I didn't have to work a lot. but I was creating a lot of significance and impact within that time I worked, if that makes sense. And so it would create a lot of freedom so I could do those things. And especially with my oldest, I've coached every game he's ever played in. He's in high school now. And I've traveled with him, I've been at every practice, I never missed any of that stuff. And, as it's coming to an end now for him in high school and in his career in sports, I can look back and go, man, I did it. I really manifested and created what my heart's desire years ago, before my son was even born, 17 years ago. And that was so near and dear to my heart. It was very important to have freedom to do that. It wasn't about the money, even though money ends up being a byproduct of who you grow into the more and more you develop and grow, that's all energy too. And we can talk about that. But, that was something truly important to me. And then my two little guys came along the way, and now I'm doing it all over again with them.
Oh, that's so amazing. You're doing